What is up, everyone? Welcome to a very special edition of The Danny Show. I'm your host, Daniel Cody, and this is where I give commentary and reviews on all things wrestling. Before I get started with my full review of SummerSlam, let me just say I am very upset right now. I'm very upset. I'm very upset right now. Very. Uh, 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 um, I'm, I'm, I'm almost out of words, and I have to review this. I'm out of words. I'm out of words. I really am. But let's get on to the other things that happened tonight that were last night that were very amazing at SummerSlam. But I'm hot as fire. But let's get on to the opening match of the night. We have Logan Paul versus Ricochet. We have Corey Graves stirring the pot of everything with him saying that Logan and Ricochet girlfriend Samantha are wearing the same colors. Obviously, Logan Paul and The Miz are the bumblebees of WWE. But in any event, we had a match tonight. We saw Logan Paul thinks he's Hogan Paul. That's the word I'm looking for. Hogan Paul. We saw him taunt and mock Braun Strowman with the power slam. Logan has a death wish. Then we saw him um, use Adam Page's move, which is where he goes for the 450 clothesline. This time off the top rope, which I thought was very cool. I also noticed that we saw Ricochet do a couple of cool things with Ricochet's the people's moonsault, as Corey called it, but I said it right before Corey would. But the people's moonsault was very amazing. The flying clothesline was very amazing. However, due to the first of a couple, but due to the first, ironically, an interference from somebody with a hoodie on the outside giving brass nuts, Logan Paul wins this match and then taunts Ricochet's girlfriend again. I don't think this is over. I hope to see Ricochet get his revenge. But excuse me if I seem a little upset about everything, but this is not over between Logan and Ricochet, I believe. And despite whoever that guy was that sent the brass nuts. Let's get in the match too. Next match of the evening, we have Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes, and a match that started to look much like 9 years ago with Brock Lesnar versus John Cena, with Cody Rhodes going to Suplex City. I thought this was going to be very one sided at first. We saw Suplex City, as I mentioned, and two F5s on the outside, one of them going through the announce table. But somehow Cody Rhodes came back. And it was funny. Michael Cole was like, just stay down. You're not going to win. You can't beat Brock Lesnar. Just let it go and live to fight another day. And it's as if Cody Rhodes himself looked at Michael Cole and said, get thee behind me, Satan. But in any event, just kidding. Cody Rhodes would come back after using the steel stairs. And it took a cutter. It took a diamond cutter and 3 crossroads to defeat Brock Lesnar. Not to mention, somehow during the match, Brock Lesnar ripped his pants open. I think Brock Lesnar is the Incredible Hulk of WWE because he ripped his pants. But nonetheless, after this amazing match, Brock Lesnar, as I felt was going to happen, Brock Lesnar extended his hand and shook hands and showed sportsmanship. And Cody Rhodes went and greeted his mother, and that ends it with that. Then we have the Battle Royal. Let me just say this. I'm glad LA Knight won this Battle Royal. I was very surprised to see Omos come back. It took several people to eliminate Omos after Omos had eliminated several people himself. But fun fact, It's ironic that I don't review Raw because I don't have cable. I only have Roku apps. But I do review SmackDown because I get to see everything that goes down and I get to catch what WWE highlights won't play. However, fun fact, AJ, LA Knight, and Sheamus were the last three men left representing SmackDown, and LA Knight won. However, I'm happy for LA Knight, as everyone is. I still think that Trish versus Becky Lynch should have happened that night, and at least have Ricochet. No, not Ricochet. At least have the Slim Jim Battle Royal on the kickoff show. But that was my humble opinion. Moving forward, speaking of women's matches, we have Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler MMA style, which I hoped would happen. However, fans were not interested in this one. Some of the fans were chanting boring, but I thought it was pretty interesting in my opinion. That kick to the side of Rousey's head, I thought that was going to put her down. Rousey came back. They both exchanged sleeper holds and ankle locks, but in the end, it was Shayna putting Rousey out in the chokehold that would win the match. Even despite it being the fact that near the end, people were concerned about Shayna not being able to continue, but Shayna came back and ended the match winning. But some people didn't really care for that match, but I kind of found it a bit interesting in an unpopular opinion, I might say. Here's a match that everyone enjoyed. We have Drew McIntyre versus Gunter, aka Walter. We have, but first, I would like to say that it is now time for another episode of the Red Chest Diaries. On this particular episode of the Red Chest Diaries, we saw that a chop from Walter, aka Gunter, took out Drew McIntyre and put him off of his feet, which does not happen. We saw Drew McIntyre do what they call the move thievery on WWE video games, where he used the powerbomb and his own future shot DDT for a 2 count. Of course, we will see Walter come back with a powerbomb and a flying splash, but wouldn't keep Drew down. And I knew that Walter would kick out of the Claymore. And of course, there was that sign guy that wanted to see Drew Claymore Walter's head off. By the way, I like Walter's name better than Gunter. Awesome chant, this is awesome. And it took a splash, a clothesline, and a power bomb to finish off Drew McIntyre. Be sure to join me on August the 20th of this year as we celebrate my top 10 favorite matches of Walter in another episode of the Red Chest Diaries. By the way, it is very obvious that Walter will break Honky Tonk Man's record. Now let's get on to the World Heavyweight Championship match between Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. First of all, Finn Balor has 7 tattooed to the right shoulder, which was injured 7 years ago at SummerSlam. Isn't 7 a metal band? If I'm not mistaken, 7 is a metal band. I gotta check that out. Also, Seth Rollins wearing the same vest he wore that night where Finn's injury happens. And of course, Seth would get his arm targeted as well as take a power bomb onto the barricade. Of course, we would see pedigrees from both Seth Rollins, and we would also see Finn Balor steal the pedigree as a move thievery, and also with assists from Damian Priest, who made his way down ringside as Mr. Money in the Bank. We saw Simp 19 and Rhea appear. Speaking of Simp 19, Seth Rollins does the frog splash far better than wannabe Thug Dom. And also, we saw Priest give the briefcase to Finn Balor, and it backfired because Seth Rollins would end up stomping Finn's head in with the briefcase for the 1, 2, 3. Now, while this was a must needed win for Finn Balor, this was also a match that Seth needed as well. Because if you remember, Seth did not win at SummerSlam several years ago. So Seth needed this as well because he lost to Finn Balor. Finn Balor actually won that match. Moving on to this amazing triple threat match between the women. We have Bianca. By the way, Charlotte's streak has been broken for all of us, for all of you who are sick and tired of Charlotte Flair taking over all the time and hogging the spotlight. But we have Charlotte versus Asuka versus Bianca. First off, Asuka, please stop putting your hand over your right eye like that. It looks very demonic. But in any event, we saw it was an interesting triple threat match, and it wouldn't be a good match if we didn't see Charlotte do a moonsault. Also, circumstance happened, and Bianca fell and hit her right knee on the stairs. And if you paid attention, she had been favoring her right knee throughout the match and hurt her leg, which left Asuka and Charlotte to fight. During the match, Asuka was caught in the figure eight. Bianca would come in and do a 450. She was supposed to be helped out of the arena because she looked like she was injured, but she came back and did a 450, proving why Bianca is the toughest. Pun heavily intended, in a good way. But we have the 450. Then Bianca got caught in the figure eight, but she held on long enough for Asuka to come in and blow the miss. And then Bianca was able to roll her up for the 1, 2, 3. And at the moment, we all thought Bianca was the SmackDown Women's Champion, which would have been a great feel good moment because it was a match that we didn't even expect Bianca to win. Nonetheless, win the championship back because of what happened. But she came back and persevered. That is one tough woman right there. One of the toughest of this generation. Or should I say the toughest. However, the night was not over as Io Sky cashed in and won the SmackDown Women's Champion, and Dakota Kai returned. And it's all full circle because Damage Control was born at last year's SummerSlam. This year, Io Sky is the SmackDown Women's Champion. Now to the reason I'm upset. We have Roman versus Jey Uso in Tribal Combat. Had Roman lost, which I knew Roman was going to win, but that's not what upset me. I knew Roman was going to win. And by the way, I'm not really upset. I'm upset from a scripted standpoint. From an entertainment standpoint, I am upset. But I knew Roman was going to win. But this is where I had the problems. Now, we started off the match. Obviously, we saw Jey paying homage to The Rock with the strikes and doing this. Obviously, Roman Reigns took control for the most part, dominating the match. We saw Jey Uso give Roman the Samoan Slam through the tables. The fans wanted tables, by the way. Then we would see Roman get whipped by the same straps used 3 years ago at Hell in a Cell I Quit match in 2020. We would also see more tables. They fought in the crowd and Solo showed up, and I'm thinking to myself, you have got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. Can we please just one match? I really thought Roman was going to actually do something on his own. And I'm like, if there is any match that he could win on his own, it would be this one. And Solo shows up in the crowd. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Roman win Roman gets help from Solo again, and then gets accidentally speared by Roman, and then Jay spears Roman for the 2 count. Then Jay spears him again through the barricade, and then puts goes for the Uso splash. And just as Jay's about to get the victory, someone else stops him. Guess who pulls the strings now and stops the pinfall to protect Roman? None other than Jimmy Uso. Now, that's where my blood just boiled. That I was just all the wind was taken from me when Jimmy revealed himself. All the blood was taken from me. I'm like, oh my god. And later on this month, I'm supposed to do a review on my top 10 favorite Uso matches because they've done so much. And when their birthday comes up, I got to do a bittersweet review on these guys. And I was not expecting this at all, but this is the way it is. And I'm like, and the crowd was spot on with the freak you Jimmy chants. Then with Jimmy's help, Roman Reigns wins again. And the thing that made me a little more upset was because there were rumors, and this is why I don't pay attention to rumors and I don't even look at, the only reason I saw this rumor was because of a community post on YouTube. Usually I don't follow rumors about who's supposed to show up or whatnot because I know sometimes they're lying. And this was proof because they said a legendary wrestler was in Detroit tonight and no one showed up at the end of the night. So we ended off the show like this. We ended up the show with Roman Reigns winning, which I expected him to do. He's the tribal chief. But being the tribal chief, can you please win a match by yourself? That's the thing that's really getting on my nerves from an entertainment standpoint, not in real life, just from an entertainment standpoint, which is helping to build his heelish character because a heel is supposed to make you mad. And I must say, Roman Reigns is doing a really good job at getting on our nerves. And that's what a good heel is supposed to do. He is supposed to get on our nerves. And he's on my last 2 good nerves I got left. But let me know in the comment section below, what was your favorite highlight of this SummerSlam, what you thought about this event, besides being hot as fire about the ending. Just let me know what you thought. I'm your host, Cody, and I'll see you next time with another review on all things wrestling because I am pissed. Have a blessed Sabbath day, everyone. God bless.